Being a human, you can get lost so easily. There really are not that many paths that are taught to us as a human species. Is either there's option number one, which is eke out whatever living you can, and you just do whatever you can, and you just suffer like everyone else, and you just don't desire more than you can believe that you can have. So instead of wanting big things, just want little things. Just want little things, want things so that if anything happens, it doesn't really matter, because you don't really want big things anymore. You just want a normal life. You just want to be like everyone else. And so something is better than nothing. That's a big one. Something is truly better than nothing. And then there's another option, which is you can dream as big as you can, and dreaming is fun, and there's so much to dream about, and you can dream, and maybe you can make it happen. Maybe you can actually have your dream life. And so the ones who are able to accomplish that, they're the rare ones. They're rare. It's rare. So can you be one of those rare people? That's what it really comes down to. And if you're on this video, you're like, I want to live my dream life. I don't want to live out this life where I'm just mediocre, where I'm just doing what everyone else does for the sake of having something than nothing. I'd rather be a dreamer. I'd rather dream. I want to dream. I want to have the life that I want. I want to live a life of quote unquote magic. I want to have a good time. And so how do you really truly do that? How do you use the law of attraction to attract this dream life? What tools do you have? What is at your disposal? Because everything that you want, you can have. Step one is when you decide through life that you want something, because you're not in your dream life. You're not living your dream life. You're living a life that's less than mediocre. It's mediocre at best, if anything, but it's you just know that you could be doing so much more. And step two is source. It's given to you. It's always given to you. And step three is you have to begin to let it in. You have to find a way to let your desire in, to allow it to occur into your mind, like an impulse or a good idea. Have you ever had just a good idea? And all this really comes to play. Everything really gets to kick into high gear when you understand that it's your emotions that are truly what can take you all the way there. You can get to anywhere that you want to go. If you want that dream life, you can. And how do you get there? How do you get over to that dream life? And so we say, well, the thing is, your dream life has already been created, because you've already decided through your life that you've wanted it. So you've done all your work. Physically speaking, you've done all of your work. So there's not much action that you can even take. There's not much, and there's not much action that you can take to compensate for energy that's not lined up, for believing something is not there and then taking action to bang it into place. There's not much leverage in that. So we're like, you can't really do much on that front. But when you understand your emotions and you're like, okay, negative emotion is really something interesting, because when there's a negative emotion present in the mix, that means that there's a relational experience happening, because you're sourced before you come into this body, and you still continue to be sourced. And so law of attraction responds to every point of attraction out there, even animals, even amoebas in the sea. It's responding to everything. So it's responding to you and your physical body right now, and it's responding to your inner being. So remember, step two is your inner being becomes immediate equivalent of everything that you want. It becomes equivalent, and becomes that version. And it's interesting because it's literally something that you can record, because negative emotion means that there's another perspective of you out there also thinking the same thought. Because if that wasn't the case, then you would never feel negative emotion. Because when you have negative emotion, what does that mean? Why are you having a relational experience with anything? What is your opinion being compared to, in order for there to be this relationship that's understandable, perceivable by you? And so what we're telling you, you have inner being, you have instructions, because your inner being has already become everything that you want, and is living what you want, and it's communicating to you of how you can get on that path. And it's your emotions, they take you there. Your emotions can take you everywhere you want to go. So how do your emotions do that? How can you go from poverty to richness? Well, we were telling you, well, the only thing that you really have to do, because it's already created the path of, there's so many viable paths now that you can have right now, that you can have access to. And the only thing that you really have to do is just care for your point of attraction. You have to tend to your point of attraction. You have to take care of it. You have to decorate your point of attraction. You have to nurture it. And what that really means is you just have to feel good right now, because when you're feeling good right now, you're ready for the next impulse. You're ready for the next thing. You're just ready. You are packed and ready to go, to hop on that flight. It's like that, right? But so how do you tend to your point of attraction? You can be doubtful about your desire. You have to begin to tell the same story. You have to go where your leverage is, which is you go where your inner being is. And it's interesting, because the biggest tug of war that you'll ever experience, the greatest sorrow, the greatest sadness, is having life cause you to become something and then you not going with it. Because do you know that your dream life, you're not going with your dream life? If it feels good to you, if your desire feels good to you, it's because you're pretty much going with your desire. But if it feels bad, if it feels rotten, if you're like, damn, like I feel defeated, beat down, life has kicked my ass, it's because you're not going with your inner being. Because your inner being will never let go of what it knows. Your inner being will never let go of the fact that it's a billionaire. And even if, no matter how poor you feel, no matter how many jobs you think think you have to apply to in order to get that money. Your inner being is like, but it's not the heart because we're already living it. So here you are, right? And we're telling you, being human is interesting for that experience because you literally have an inner being who's a vibrational equivalent to everything that you want. So you're thrown into this vibrational world. You can't help but be vibrational and physical because you truly did come to be in this physical body to blend those two perspectives, to be source and human. And so we're saying, but your perspective is what you can handle right now, because source, you don't have to worry about source. Because source has pure positive energy. Source never doubts what you want. You're the one who doubts, and when you doubt, you're off source. So imagine you want to go to wellness. You're like, oh, I want to. Imagine you're in poverty right now, and you want to go to richness. So you're like, okay, like how do I really do that? And we're like, there's not really much you have to do because naturally you're already going there because the stream is taking you there. So you don't really have to do any action because you're already going there, and any action that you take is going against the stream because you're trying to make it bang into place when it's already going to take place. And so we tell you the thing is about the stream is that you can slow down how fast your desire comes to you because it's natural that it comes to you. It's inevitable. In fact, it's inevitable, but you can slow it down because of your resistance, your contradictory thought. Because the thing about, what are you contradicting though? Contradictory thoughts means you're going against your inner being. You're going against your inner being. You're saying, hey, inner being is saying, oh, we don't agree with you. Because when you feel negative emotion, that means that your inner being is saying, no, we don't agree with you. That's off your path. And so if you change that thought, if you tend to that thought, if you change that thought, because if you ask yourself, well, what's on the other side of the stick? What's on the other side of this thought? So if I feel negative emotion about money, if I'm like, damn, like today nothing, like I didn't do anything productive. Oh, this is really going. So imagine if you're like, oh, damn, today I didn't do anything productive. Nothing really happened for me. And you feel a negative emotion in your stomach. That's your inner being saying, nope, something very productive happened. And so the human thing then is to be like, well, no, inner being, nothing happened today. I don't recollect anything that productive that happened. But your inner being being your inner being is like, well, you want something productive to happen, so we're a match to it. And so we're not letting go. We're not going to let go. Well, we know that you're productive today. And so that's what that tug of war is, because you're not believing what your inner being saying. Your inner being saying you're a billionaire right now, but you're saying, well, I'm not a billionaire. And then it makes you feel crazy because it's like you're really living these two aspects. And we're like, but it's not that serious, because why wouldn't you just go with your inner being? Why don't you just blend? Why don't you just feel as good as you can? And then you'll say, because I don't see any evidence, because I don't have a reason to feel different. And we're like, the thing is, the only reason you need to feel different is because you can feel it, is because you can feel for your path. No, you can't see it, because if you see it, it's too early to see it. So if you see it, you'll think, oh, I've been on this journey this whole time and I don't see any evidence, so I must be not doing something right. And we're like, not really. You just have to keep going along the path, and your emotions will tell you that. That's crazy, because when you understand that your emotions are like your guidance system, then you're never lost. You are never lost. You can never mess anything up so badly that you can't find your way back home. In fact, you're always able to find yourself, because it's this relational thing. Because now and then, when life really causes you to ask for something and you're really clear about the desire, like, oh, I want to be a YouTuber, oh, I want to be a billionaire. So that's what someone would in the action world would call a goal. But we don't call it a goal. We think of it as something that's really like clear to you, right? So, but because when it's a goal, it means that you're taking action steps. So when it's something that's clear to you, you're just making sure that you're on or off. You're using your emotions. You're guiding yourself there, right? So when you're really clear about a goal, when you really want something, or when you need it, but usually when you want it, now your emotional guidance system gets kicked into highest gear. When we mean highest gear, we mean every thought counts. Where you're like, oh no, this thought feels bad. This thought feels bad. So what does it mean? What does it mean? And so you begin to gradually shift your vibration. Because here's the thing: reality can't reflect the change that you want. Because let's be real about it. Because you still have resistance. Even if you think that you don't have resistance, even if you're not sure how it came, because you're like, damn, I really thought I was feeling good. You had something. You just had something that was making its way out of it. Is experience. Like, it's just not gradual. What's the word? It's like it's residual. It's just residual. So it's just small stuff. So you're like, whatever, I'm gonna continue on going. And so you continue on your path. You're like, okay, the path is really fun. Sometimes you have the thought of like, damn, I'm not where I want to be. And then you're like, oh, that feels like negative emotion. And then you're like, oh, inner being says I'm on my way. Inner being says I'm right where I need to be. So I'm joining in on my inner being with that thought. So we're thinking the same thought. So it's like, you're literally, do you understand what we're saying? You're literally using your emotions, because when something feels bad, it means that you're on the opposite side of what your inner being thinks. And when you blend and become that source energy, when you join in with on the perspective of source of your inner being, then guess what do you think happens? You naturally get there, because you just have to keep progressing. It's like you're on the way there, but your being on the way there is truly a vibrational thing, because it's like all you have to do is like, if you want to see your millions, all you have to do is just see it, because it's there. Because it's not about you banging into place. We're saying it's already there, but it's not, you don't bang, you don't make up your way physically there. You tune into it. You vibrationally set your tuner, because your vibration, your vibrational output and what you receive is always a match. So you can, if you know that the law of attraction is this law that manages everything in the world, and so all the subjects, everything, and make sure everything matches, and law of attraction is never off. It's never, there's never anything contrary to that understanding, like attracts like. So if that's the case, and you understand that what your output you're getting back in, so you understand through deliberate creation that you can actually change your output. So that's what we're saying. We're like, why don't you just change your output so that what you get back in return is exactly the way you want it? So we're like, how do you change your output? We're like, well, you have help, you have leverage, because your inner being is also thinking thoughts with you. Your inner being is already not only is where you want to be, but it's broadcasting a signal. So all you have to do is just join in on that broadcast, because your inner being is saying, hey, we're rich, and you know your inner being's call when there's negative emotion present. When there's negative emotion present, you're like, damn, this is really important guidance. So you celebrate negative emotion, because you're like, now I know for sure I'm on the path. Now this journey is more quantifiable, because if I know that this thought is negative, then I know what a positive thought feels like. So I know, so when a thought is negative, that means I know what it feels to go in the opposite direction of this desire. But when it feels good, I know how to go in the direction of the desire. You know what I'm saying? It's a relational experience, and that's actually really crazy, because then it's like, to us there should be no confusion. Like, there shouldn't be as much as lag time, because you should be understanding that you're vibrational, and then realizing that what is doesn't matter, because what you see with your eye doesn't matter. You can't trust it, because it's so fleeting, it's moving so fast. So for example, if your inner being says, if you feel the negative emotion that's like, damn, like I'm so broke, your inner being saying you're not broke, because that negative emotion is like, means that your inner being is thinking of thought, is thinking the same thought, is there in that moment with you, having the same thought, is sharing an opinion, so inner being's like, no, we're a billionaire. And you're like, okay, but inner being, you're a billionaire, but I'm broke, so who's gonna give up? And we're saying, well, here's the thing, your inner being is never gonna give up, and you have to trust your inner being. And that's what people call faith, but it's not really faith, because yeah, you have to believe it before you see it, but we're telling you it's a real reality. You don't have to make it happen. It's just you tune into it. It doesn't even materialize out of thin air. You just tune into it. It's there all the time. That's why we say there's so many viable paths, because law of attraction is really powerful, and your inner being has your back. Do you know the law of attraction is responding to your point of attraction and your inner being's like set point of attraction? And since your inner being has no doubt, your inner being literally can, this is crazy, because your inner being can literally summon everything on your behalf. So it's like, you can't even get mad about negative emotion. You can't even really complain about your life anymore, because now you know how to go from point to point B. You know how to get to wherever we want to go. So it's like, damn, I want to complain about my life, I want to be human like everyone else, but I just know too much. I understand too much that when I feel negative emotion, I know what positive emotion feels like. And when I know the relationship between positive and negative emotion, when I know what the relationship between being on the present side of the stick and the absent side of the stick, everything just makes sense, because now I know when I'm going against the flow. So then it's like, that's where expectation really kicks in, because you're like, I'm gonna get there. And honestly, we would far rather that you're a dreamer, and sometimes reality is like, it kicks your ass, and rather than just be complacent and be mediocre, we would rather you be like, maybe today I'm gonna be famous, I'm gonna be discovered, than walk around and be like, damn, like I can't be famous, because one is life-giving and the other one is just mediocrity. And maybe that got beat out of you, but it doesn't really matter, because you can literally take yourself anywhere you want to go. Do you understand your power? Do you understand that you don't really need anything? You don't need to watch my videos. You have your guidance system that's red hot in the moment with you, and you don't need to take action. So now you'll get to the point where negative emotion doesn't even really hurt anymore, because there's not even that much momentum, because you don't really freak out about negative emotions. You don't flail around and then more momentum gets gathered. It's more just like, damn, like I want to feel sad, I want to feel bad about being broke, but my inner being tells me I have money, so I have money, and I can't see it right now, but I have money, and it feels good. And you just really, you really buy into that story, because you'll never get, what's crazy? You'll just never get to, because humans think that once I get there, I'll be finished. But we're telling you that you're always going to be in the place where, in the same position that you are now, where reality is the opposite of what you want it to be. So what are you going to do? Are you going to give up on your desire, or are you going to go with your inner being? Because your inner being didn't give up on your desire just because it's not seen in the reality. Your inner being still has it, and you have that leverage, you have that assistance. So we're saying just give into your inner being, because here's the thing, like the craziest thing in the world is people literally commit suicide. People off themselves because they can't deal with that tension between them and their inner being. Their inner being saying we're a star, and you're saying I'm not a star. And then you keep saying I'm not a star, but I want to be a star because life causes you to ask it. And so the tug of war becomes so great that there's nothing that you can really do but just hop back into non-physical energy. And then when you're non-physical energy, you become one with source. You're like, damn, you were right. So you're right, inner being. I was a billionaire this whole time. I was the greatest writer this whole time. And it doesn't matter that I need to see physical evidence, because now when I'm non-physical, there is no such thing as physical. And so you come back into a body, and we're like, why wait though? Why go through all that when you could just have it now in this moment, in this vessel, this body? Why not just cash in on your life now? And this is getting long, but honestly, it's so valuable because the journey is so much easier than anyone thinks, because reality just F's everything up. Because when there's reality in the mix, you don't believe your inner being anymore, because you're like, inner being, how am I a billionaire when all I see is money? So you get cheesed about the fact that there's just money, there's no money, but all the while your inner being doesn't shut up. Your inner being's like, we see money, and you're like, damn. But you know what's crazy? When you die, like, you finally are like, you're right, I do see money, I see money too, and then that emotional, and you know that when you and your inner being are in the same perspective, because you feel different, you feel good. And so that's really the work. Choose what feels really present to you and prevalent, whether it's something like money or work or anything, and then try to make a statement of desire about it, or just try to calibrate, make it feel better, and try to understand that, you know what, like, everything that you want literally exists, and you can't even really complain. You can't really get too far away. You can't even mess it up that badly, because friends, you can't get it wrong. You literally can't. Do you know what that means? It means that you can't even get it wrong, even if you try, because even if you feel negative emotion, you go with a negative emotion, your inner being doesn't care. Your inner being is like, cool, we're still a billionaire. Even if you're complaining about money, even if you spend your entire life complaining about money, about not having money, being mad at people who have money, and we still have it. So we're good, because we have all of eternity, and you have just this body. So, but it doesn't matter, because when you leave your body, you become one with us, and then we'll share the same perspective. But we're like, are humans really that like messed up in the head? Because they're like, you guys really don't believe that feeling good is powerful, and that feeling good is valuable, that feeling good is productive? Because here's the thing, is that, like, you'll get to the point where you understand this, and you're like, you're right, I do have a GPS system, I'm right, the stream is taking me, and all I have to do is just know when I'm off the stream, and then get back on the stream, and then naturally I'll just go there, and then I can't look at reality too soon, because then reality will throw me off. But reality doesn't throw me off, because my emotions will always tell me what's really real, and so I'm good. But then you get in a position where you just feel good, and you're like, you just feel satisfied, and that satisfaction can parlay to higher frequency, depending on whether or not you want to. It's because it's your choice. But then you're just like damn, it just doesn't feel like I'm doing anything. There's no action, because you're so used to your desires feeling like resistance. You're so used to your desires feeling something you have to work towards, and that there's so much aggression and grit that you have to take. You don't forgot that desire is just this fresh, fun thing that you can look forward to, and that it's really easy, because desire does not exist. It's not yearning. We talk about desire versus yearning. We actually have a video about that, but there's such a difference, because they feel different. Because desire is pure, meaning it's about the presence, while yearning, it's about the absence. And so you want to just be sure which frequency you're on. And that's the thing, this stream is taking you, because everything that you want is already here right now, and all you literally have to do is just tune into it. You just have to tune into it. And how do you tune into something? You tune into it. It's like, how do you see something that's there? You just see it. But it's like, well, and that's really interesting, because like, you just have to see it. You just have to, that's what we're saying, is like, you just have to believe your inner being, because your inner being is telling you what's true, and it feels good. So why would you follow what feels good? Because feeling bad will never lead to something good. Feeling bad never leads to something good. So we're like, follow your inner being, because when you leave this body anyways, you're going to follow your inner being completely. In fact, there won't be any resistance. So we're like, just do it now. Feel good now. And feeling good now means you are that billionaire. You are that billionaire. You can't help but you have to look at reality differently, because you can't look back. You can't look at reality how it was. Even this moment is old. You have to look at reality as this forward thing that's changing, and your inner being is basically your inner being is telling you what to do. So just listen to your inner being. Listen to your inner being, friends, and that's your guidance system. Your guidance system is very easy. It's very simply put. If you feel good, you're going towards your billions and trillions, and your fortune, and your writing regime, and your acting career. And we don't mean just the puny stuff. We mean the big stuff, the big homes, the big career, the big awards, the big dollars, the big business, the big books, everything, and the notoriety, everything. And when you feel negative, that means you're going in opposition. So what we're saying is, if you don't let the negative emotion get too big, because now you understand, hey, negative emotion means I'm off the trail. So how do I get back on the trail? Because there's this relational thing that's going on. You just hop back on the trail. You literally just hop back on the trail. And that's what we're saying. Just hop back on the trail. And then when you hop back on the trail, you are bound to go there. You're bound to go there. And it's all just for the fun anyways, because it's like, that's what we're saying, is that you're never going to be in a place where you're not a spot where you're not doing that, because reality will never, you're a creator. Reality, you chose this body, you chose these circumstances because you're like, I don't want to be born to a rich family. I want to be born into a poverty family because I really want to be a creator.